A camera comparison between the Oppo Find X6 Pro versus the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Let's see which one does better. Breath of the Wild was one of the best Switch games I ever played, so I pre-ordered the Switch edition for that one, and I already have the Pokemon one. I figured I might as well get the last special edition one that's currently out. They say they have it in Best Buy and Target, so I'm going to go out today and try to find it. On the Xiaomi 13 Pro, I am using the authentic filter on, so naturally that would look pretty contrasty and darker in the shadows. There is a vibrant filter which does lighten up the shadows a bit, but I personally do like the look on authentic filter better. But besides the color, they both go back and forth in terms of HDR. Sometimes the Oppo does better and sometimes the Xiaomi do better, and they are things that clearly the Oppo is struggling at, which I think personally is more on the highlights. I just think that sometimes it can just be too hot. But the overall look of the images and videos seems to be pretty normal, where the highlights are trying to be exposed, you can see more in the shadows, that typical HDR look. On the Xiaomi side, since we do have that Leica authentic filter on, for the most part it does look pretty natural, but it does lean towards a bit stylistic. Personally, I feel like if you do like Leica colors, you probably end up liking the pictures on the Xiaomi more, but you do have vibrant mode which tones it down. I feel like it tones it down and it kind of adds that regular HDR look over it. In general, for low light pictures, I would go for the Oppo. Even if you're in dark areas, the ultra wide will still be the brighter image. And for video, usually I don't use ultra wide unless I have to, because the quality is not that good. But even so, I would say the Oppo still looks better. It's a bit cleaner and you can see more in the shadows. Obviously, if you want the better quality, use the wide lens to record video. I think overall they look majority the same, except for the brightness of it. The Oppo, you can see more in the shadows, but it tends to lean towards the bluish side. I don't know if it has to do with the blue sky, but on the Xiaomi, it does seem more natural, since the shadows are darker and it's less blue. For the darker pictures, it does seem like the Oppo does have the brighter image, and also I feel like the HDR handles a bit better on Oppo as well. I do notice that when you're taking pictures in dark places, the Oppo tends to give you like this prompt where you need to hold steady for a bit and it counts down, whereas on a Xiaomi you see less of that, so you're taking pictures quicker on a Xiaomi. Since they both have 1-inch sensors on the main camera, the background blur is really good when you're taking pictures or video. Earlier I mentioned the Oppo can be a bit too hot on the highlights. For this example here, you can see more details on the white flower on the Xiaomi. Sometimes I feel like the Oppo likes to just expose for the shadows and forget about the highlights because it just overexposes it. It's like forget about it, whereas on Xiaomi it keeps pretty much everything exposed. And I'm sure you noticed by now it does take a longer time for it to dial down the exposure. So I went to Target and they actually got 2 more left, so got one of these, and I'll upload an unboxing later on my channel and on other platforms. But taking pictures in the shadows and having a bright background, some people might not like that super HDR look where it can be too over processed. For the most part, personally, I do like the Xiaomi more. It kind of gives you like a more natural looking picture where the shadows are darker like the authentic mode should be. So it does give you more of the authentic real life experience, I guess. Moving on to telephoto, the Xiaomi does have a 3.2 technically, but I'm putting 3x just to make it simple. And they both look really great at 3x. For the max zoom, Oppo can go all the way up to 120x, whereas on the Xiaomi it's at 70x. Personally, I don't think I find anything over 15 or 30x to be useful in terms of taking the best quality image, but something more along the lines of trying to zoom in to see more details or just to read something from afar. Like this detail here, in person I would not be able to see Christopher Street at all, but zooming all the way in, I know that it's there. But with both of these phones, zooming in at 3x or even 10x, they both look really good. So I'm not afraid of losing quality when I'm using these zoom ranges where I would say typically people would normally use. For video, max zoom is 18 on the Oppo and 15 on the Xiaomi. Now on the Oppo you can see more noise dancing around, which you may not like, but overall they both are pretty smooth and stabilized while panning around. For portrait mode, this is where I feel like the Xiaomi's authentic look or filter does stand out the most. And for the Oppo, the look of it is pretty normal like most phones. They both can do 1x and 3x. But personally, I do like the portrait experience on a Xiaomi since you have pro lenses, which give you like actual focal lengths to let you know if you're shooting in 35, 50, 75, and so on. But it doesn't let you change the background blur or turn them off, so I do wish there is an option for that. On Oppo, you do have these filters you can turn on, but Xiaomi has that as well. So that's why I feel like having these pro lenses, seeing the actual focal lengths you're shooting on, definitely enhances the portrait experience. So they both have their pros and cons and certain weaknesses, but in general, I think the Oppo Find X6 Pro is the better all-around camera. But personally, I do like taking pictures on a Xiaomi just because I like the look of it and also the portrait mode experience. So overall, personal preference on which one you like, so let me know which one you prefer. I have compared other phones with the Oppo, so I'll put them on screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.